Hey YouTubers, so today I'm going to be talking about Allied, which is the new film directed by Robert Zemeckis, the chap that did Castaway, Forrest Gump, Flight, and the Back to the Future films. And this film is also written by Stephen Knight, the guy responsible for Peaky Blinders and Dirty Pretty Things. So Allied is a romantic war thriller about a French-Canadian intelligence officer called Max, played by Brad Pitt, and a French resistant fighter, Marianne, played by Marion Cotillard, who meet on a mission in Casablanca working together to assassinate a German ambassador. At first their romance is a fiction in order to pass off as a couple, but after the mission is over, the two characters have fallen in love, they decide to move to London together and start a family. However, after a year of marriage, Max is informed by superior officers that they think Marianne might be a German spy. Of course, he doesn't really believe that's possible, but the evidence suggests they could be right. So the remaining bit of the narrative takes this shift where Max's character basically tries to find out the truth about Marianne. Now, I really wanted to like this film, guys, but for really biased reasons, okay? I actually got to play an extra in this film and was amazed to see I actually made it into the final cut. Having said that, my powerhouse 1.5 second performance as office worker number 79 was in a film that I didn't particularly relish. I'm sad to say that this is a very middle of the range war film with a very inconsistent tone and also lacked the urgency of a romantic thriller. The studio must have had a lot of faith in it to release this film so close to Oscar season, but when I came out of this I felt severely underwhelmed. But let's talk about some of the things that I did like, okay? I really did enjoy the opening act of this film. The first part of this film is set in Morocco. It's engaging, both Brad Pitt and Marion Cotillard's characters are established very well, and it builds to a very satisfying action sequence. Marion Cotillard is fantastic. Then again, I don't think I've ever seen her do a bad performance. She was everything the character needed to be. She was alluring and a bit mysterious, and she delivered the lines very well. There's a bit of foreshadowing in some of the dialogue very early on. The mistake that people make in these situations isn't fucking, it's feeling. And it's just this juicy little bit of dialogue, and when it's said in that lovely French accent of Marion Cotillard. Yes, that was my French accent. I should not do Marion Cotillard impressions. It's just all the more meaningful. And the sets and the costumes are also really beautiful as well. Again, I'm a little biased because I actually got to work on this, but it does show in the end product that there's a lot of eye for detail. So let's talk about the issues with this film. Honestly, I was a little bit underwhelmed by Brad Pitt's performance. Don't get me wrong, I love Brad Pitt as an actor, but for some reason, I just didn't feel like he really committed to this role. It almost felt like he was very tired all the way through this performance. And while Marion Cotillard really delivers that sort of sensuality, Brad Pitt's reaction or interactions don't feel as invigorating. And I guess the main problem I had with this film is that I couldn't really tell what the tone was, because the first part of this film almost felt like this old-timey espionage style film, but when the characters then move to London, it becomes all about this sort of family romance thing, and then a little bit later on it becomes this mystery as Max tries to figure out if Marianne is in fact a spy or not. But the pacing is really inconsistent. If you wanted to build the tension, it would be more of a slow burn. But as we watch Max try and figure everything out, it just loses a bit of momentum and it kind of gets a bit stagnant. And because the focus is mainly on Max for the second half of the movie, Marion Cotillard's character feels very underutilized. And she's just a great presence to always have on screen, but she feels underused and it subtracts something from the film. So guys, to sum up, I didn't have the best time watching Allied. I really wanted to. There were certain elements of this film that I did enjoy, like the opening bit in Morocco, but then when the film moved to London, the tone completely shifted and the pacing started to be a bit wobbly and it kind of lost me. I just feel like they didn't quite get the balance right, because there was romance, there was a thrill element to it, and there was a mystery part to it as well, but for some reason they all didn't work together. And part of that might have been because Brad Pitt's performance was a little bit underwhelming, that the romance maybe suffered a little bit, and the pacing of the second act was so muddled it didn't really feel like a consistent thriller. Like, there was no sense of urgency. So guys, I'm gonna give Allied a 4 out of 10, which is a shame because I do love so many of Robert Zemeckis' movies, and by all purposes I should have loved this one the most, but to be honest, it's probably one of my least favorite films that he's done. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If any of you do plan on going to see Allied despite the pretty poor review I just gave it, then do keep your eyes peeled for me, and if you do spot me, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, okay? For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Hearfield, and I'll see you next time.